Title: The Hidden Truth About Bluebell Restaurant That Shocked Everyone. Hook. Opening scene. It was a typical Friday afternoon at Bluebell Restaurant, nestled in the heart of Maple Ridge, a quiet, picturesque suburban town in the United States. Inside, the place was alive with energy. The hum of conversations filled the air, blending with the sound of clinking glasses and the sizzle of steaks on the grill. The aroma of freshly baked bread wafted through the dining area, enticing customers from all walks of life. Bluebell Restaurant wasn't just any eatery. It was a community hub, a place where families gathered, friends reunited, and stories were shared over delicious meals. But today, hidden in the ordinary hustle and bustle, something extraordinary was about to happen. The door opened quietly, and in stepped a man dressed in a simple black hoodie, worn jeans, and sneakers. He didn't turn heads. He didn't stand out. To everyone else, he was just another customer. But this man, Raymond Jackson, was far from ordinary. Introducing Raymond Jackson. Raymond Jackson was a self-made entrepreneur, a man who had defied the odds to build a thriving business empire. Bluebell Restaurant was just one of the many businesses he owned, but it held a special place in his heart. Raymond had a unique approach to management. He preferred to stay out of the limelight, letting his managers take the credit while he worked behind the scenes. His employees rarely saw him, and even fewer knew what he looked like. This anonymity allowed him to visit his establishments undercover, observing how his staff treated customers. It was his way of ensuring that his core values, respect, fairness, and inclusivity, were upheld. Usually, these undercover visits reassured him. His staff were professional, his customers happy. But today, as he walked into Bluebell Restaurant, something felt off. The encounter begins. Raymond approached the counter where Anita, the manager, was busy flipping through receipts. She looked up briefly, her eyes scanning him from head to toe, before returning to her paperwork. "Can I get a table?" Raymond asked, his tone polite. Anita barely glanced at him. "We're full," she said curtly, not bothering to mask her irritation. Raymond looked around the restaurant. Several tables were visibly empty, their chairs neatly tucked in. "I see a few open tables over there," he said, pointing. "They're reserved," Anita replied, her tone cold and dismissive. Raymond's brow furrowed. This wasn't the warm, welcoming atmosphere he had worked so hard to cultivate. "I don't mind waiting," he said calmly. "You won't be seated today," Anita said flatly, finally looking up to meet his gaze. Her eyes were sharp, filled with the hostility that caught Raymond off guard. Raymond paused, letting her words sink in. "Are you saying I can't eat here because of how I look?" Anita's lips curled into a smirk. "Listen," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "People like you don't belong here. Go downtown. You'll find somewhere more suitable." The air in the restaurant seemed to grow heavy. Conversations halted as a few customers turned to look, their expressions ranging from discomfort to disbelief. Raymond stood still, his heart pounding not from anger, but from a deep, sinking disappointment. He had faced prejudice before, but to experience it in his own establishment was a betrayal he hadn't anticipated. Without revealing his identity, Raymond simply said, "You'll regret this," and walked out the door. The aftermath. That evening, as Raymond sat in his home office, he replayed the encounter in his mind. It wasn't just about what Anita had said to him, it was about what her words represented. How many other customers had she treated this way? How long had this been going on under his nose? By Saturday morning, Raymond had made up his mind. He picked up the phone and called Gregory Pratt, his sharp, no-nonsense attorney. "Gregory, I need your help. We've got a situation at Bluebell Restaurant." Next, he called Marie Bennett, the head of human resources. "Marie, I need a full review of our staff at Bluebell. Schedule a meeting for Monday. We need to address something serious." But Raymond wasn't done yet. He decided he needed one more visit to the restaurant, this time, not undercover. The second visit. On Monday, Raymond walked into Bluebell Restaurant again, but this time, he looked the part of a successful businessman. Dressed in a tailored suit with polished shoes, he exuded confidence and authority. The change in his appearance had an immediate effect. The waitress at the front, Sandy, greeted him warmly. "Good afternoon, sir. Table for own." Raymond nodded, and Sandy led him to a table without hesitation. The service was flawless, the atmosphere pleasant. But Raymond's focus wasn't on the food or the ambiance, it was on Anita, who had just emerged from the back. She spotted him immediately, her expression shifting to one of unease. She didn't recognize him from Friday, but something about him seemed to make her nervous. She whispered something to another staff member before retreating to the kitchen. The confrontation. When Raymond finished his meal, he stood up and walked to the counter. "Could I speak with the manager, please?" he asked the cashier. Moments later, Anita appeared, her demeanor cautious but professional. "How can I help you?" she asked, her voice polite but strained. Raymond smiled slightly. "I think we need to talk about what happened here last Friday." Anita froze, her eyes widening in recognition. I don't understand," she stammered. Raymond leaned in, his voice calm but firm. "You refused to seat me. You told me people like me don't belong here. Do you remember?" No? Thecler drained from Anita's face. She opened her mouth to speak, but couldn't find the words. "You didn't realize who I was," Raymond continued, his tone steady. "But let me make something clear. I'm the owner of this restaurant. And your behavior goes against everything I stand for." Justice delivered. The restaurant fell silent as Raymond's words echoed through the room. Customers and staff alike turned their attention to the scene unfolding at the counter. "I've worked hard to build a business that welcomes everyone," Raymond said, his voice carrying a quiet intensity. "Your actions not only disrespected me, but also tarnished the reputation of this restaurant. As of this moment, you're no longer the manager of Bluebell Restaurant. Pack your things and leave." Anita stood there, stunned, her face pale. She tried to muster a response, but no excuse could justify her actions. Finally, she turned and walked toward the back, her head hung low. Raymond turned to Sandy, who had been watching the exchange with wide eyes. "Sandy, you'll be the acting manager for now. HR will assist you with the transition." Sandy nodded, visibly surprised but determined. Addressing the crowd, Raymond then turned to the room, addressing both the staff and the customers. "To anyone who has ever felt unwelcome here, I want to personally apologize. This is not who we are. This restaurant was built on the principles of respect and inclusivity. And I will do everything in my power to ensure those values are upheld." A round of applause erupted from the customers, some even standing to show their support. It was clear that Raymond's actions had struck a chord. The aftermath. As Raymond left the restaurant that day, he felt a sense of justice, not just for himself, but for every customer who had ever been mistreated. He knew there was still work to be done, but he was determined to make Bluebell Restaurant a place where everyone felt valued and respected. Driving away, he glanced back at the familiar Bluebell sign, a small smile playing on his lips. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but it was a journey worth taking. Outro. Voiceover appeal. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this story. If it resonated with you, please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories that inspire, challenge, and empower. Together, we can create a world where fairness and respect always win.